The notice of this meeting stating the date, place, and time has been disseminated, required under the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. This meeting is called to order. Mr. Clerk, please conduct the prayer and flag salute.
God of the universe, look thou with favor upon these here assembled, and bestow thy guidance upon the members of the governing body in their deliberations. This we ask in thy name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. In event of emergency, the proper method for exiting the council chambers is through the 3 doors in the rear of the room. Occupants should proceed down the staircase, out the front of the door, and move away from the area to the front steps. Any members of the public wishing to speak during the public comment session at the end of the meeting, please sign in on the sheets provided in the front of the room. Please turn off all cell phones or place them on vibrate. If you must take a call, leave the chambers. Mr. Clerk, take roll, please.
Mr. Purcell.
Absent.
Mr. Frazier.
Here.
Yamikaitis.
Here.
Sheehy.
Here.
Sadowski.
Here.
Cosby Hurling.
Here.
Armstead.
Here.
Brown.
Mr. Brown call indicated that he's going to be late.
Koziel.
Here.
Colibus.
Here.
Mr. Moore.
Here. Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor? Have a presentation this evening?
Liz, can you come up here, please? Also, Luis, come on up. This evening, I have a resolution here for Elizabeth Liz Garcia. And I have to admit, it's a bittersweet experience because the city of Linden is losing a good friend through retirement at the end of this year from Infinium Corporation, which is a quality corporation in the city of Linden that does a lot of good not only for our city but the Board of Education in regards to grants and assistance throughout the years. And Liz always spearheaded all the benefits that we received over the years through Infinium. So I'm kind of torn that we're going to be losing Liz, but on the same token, I'm happy because she deserves to enjoy life and retire with her husband and enjoy her grandkids, and I'm sure she's looking forward to that. And with that said, the council and myself felt we had to honor Liz for all her dedicated years to the city of Linden. And so we passed a resolution which I would like to read and present to Liz this evening. Whereas Elizabeth Liz Garcia began her career of 41 years with Exxon Research and Engineering in Florham Park as a design engineer in 1970, and whereas in 1966 Liz began her long affiliation Linden Bayway Facilities, that's 1986. Linden gave her long affiliation with Bayway Facilities when she transferred there as a design engineer working in various positions until she became the manager of Exxon Chemicals Public Affairs Department in 1993. And whereas in 1999, Liz continued in this role when Infinium took over the Bayway facility. And whereas in her role as head of public affairs, She led the development, coordination, and implementation of their government, community, and media relation programs, as well as crisis communications. She worked with industry and business advocacy groups as well as legislatures in the development of more effective laws and regulations for the chemical industry. And whereas Liz also served as manager of the American Chemical Council Responsible Care Program at Infinium, while continuing to be closely involved in safety, environmental, and security activities at the facility. And whereas Liz dedicated and committed extended beyond her duties as Exxon and Infinium to becoming involved in the community that hosted her employer, and whereas Liz has assisted and participated in many educational and community activities in and for the city of Linden, and was always a willing volunteer to help the residents and children of Linden. And whereas Liz Garcia has also served with distinction as a member of the Linden Economic Development Corporation since April 2001. And whereas Elizabeth Liz Garcia will be retiring on January 1st, 2012, and the mayor and council of the city of Linden wish to recognize her unselfish dedication to the citizens of Linden. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council of the city of Linden wish to thank Elizabeth Liz Garcia for her dedication and commitment to Linden, and wish to congratulate her on the occasion of her retirement, and be it further resolved that in recognition of her many accomplishments and dedication to the city of Linden, that she be declared an honorary citizen of the city of Linden, and that a copy of this resolution be presented to and be entered upon the minutes of council of the city of Linden. Passed December 20th, 2011, signed by Council President James Moore and Mayor Richard Gerbunka. Liz, on behalf of our governing body and city, I'd like to present you with this resolution and thank you for everything you've done over the years to our city.
But this will keep me connected to Linden. I've been working in the city for more than 25 years, so it's quite a lifetime, and I wanted to continue to serve the city, whether I was with Infinium or on my own. So I love the city. I love the people that I've known for so many years, and this is quite an honor. This actually makes me one of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's why we made her an honorary resident of Linden. She'll be back helping us, I'm sure.
Thank you. I'm going to ask for a motion for the approval of the minutes for June 21st, 2011.
Mr. President, thank you very much. I'd like at this particular time to make a motion to approve the regular minutes of June 21, 2011, and I ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Frazier.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Kalvis.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. This is the date and time established for public hearings on ordinance on hearings. 5554.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7, Traffic, Section 7-27, bus stops shall be amended as follows. Add to Section 7-27A, East Linden Avenue eastbound. Location, beginning at a point 180 feet east of the curb line of Southwood Avenue, extending 150 feet easterly therefrom. Hours, 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., Monday through Friday.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anybody wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Motion, please.
Council President, I'd like to close the hearing on ordinance 5554 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Frazier.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Kalvis.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. 5555.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7, Traffic, Section 7-33, Handicap Parking shall be amended as follows. 7-33.1A, Handicap Parking on Street. Add 913 McCandless Street, 1 space, 501 Union Street, 1 space, 411 Washington Avenue, 1 space. Delete 119 East Curtis Street, 1 space, 338 Miltonia Street, 1 space.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move that the hearing be closed and ordinance 5555 be adopted and request a second.
Second.
Yes. Mr. Frazier.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Kalvis.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. 5556.
An ordinance to further amend an ordinance entitled, an ordinance authorizing the city clerk, police chief, fire chief, public works superintendent, city engineer, municipal treasurer, construction code official, superintendent of public property to be paid for holiday time in lieu of appropriate time off, passed March 7th, 1978, and approved March 8th, 1978, as amended and supplemented. Section 1, that the above ordinance shall be this, and the same is hereby amended and supplemented as follows. Delete City Clerk Joseph C. Bodick, Police Chief Michael Boyle, Fire Chief Joseph Rizzo, Public Works Superintendent John Messler, City Engineer George Verchick, Municipal Treasurer Alexis Zak, Construction Code Official Thomas Caverly, Superintendent of Public Property Al McDonald. Add City Clerk, Police Chief, Fire Chief, Public Works Superintendent, City Engineer, Municipal Treasurer, Construction Code Official, Superintendent of Public Property.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anybody who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move the hearing be closed and ordinance 5556 be adopted and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Frazier.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
No.
Armstead.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Kalvis.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. 5557.
An ordinance of the Council of the City of Linden amending ordinance number 50-23 adopted April 11, 2006, entitled, An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Linden authorizing the transfer of real property tax exemption and payments in lieu of taxes for property known as Block Number 40, lots 19, 20, 27, 29, and 20, and a vacated portion of Passaic Avenue pursuant to the long-term tax exemption law, NJSA 40A:20-1, at sequence from the Linden Housing Corporation to Mongol Corporation to authorize an amendment to the financial agreement.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Motion, please.
I make a motion that 55-57 be adopted and the hearing closed, and I seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Frazier.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Kalvis.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. 5558.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 31 zoning of an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance Adopting and Enacting the Revised General Ordinances of the City of Linden, 1999, passed November 23, 1999, and approved November 24, 1999, and as amended and supplemented, Section 1, add the following districts to Section 31-3.1 zoning districts. Symbol district name PCD, Planned Commercial Development District R4, Multifamily Residential Development District age restricted. B, add the following sections to Chapter 31 of the City of Linden General Ordinances, 31-11 PCD, Planned Commercial Development District, 31-12 R4, Multifamily Residential Development District age restricted. Section 2, the City of Linden zoning ordinance is hereby amended by modifying the City of Linden zoning map.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
Yes, sir. One moment. Yes, it is written. One moment. Joseph C. Bodick, Municipal Clerk, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue, Linden, New Jersey. Ordinance number 55-58, amendments to the zoning ordinance. Dear Mr. Bodick, please be advised that on December 13, 2011, the Planning Board of the City of Linden, after reviewing ordinance number 5558, determined that the proposed ordinance is substantially consistent with the master plan. Same was done at the request of the City Council, which will schedule a public hearing on Tuesday, December 20th, 2011, at 7 p.m. Should you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me. Very truly yours, Anthony D. Ronaldo, Jr., attorney for the Linden Planning Board.
Thank you. Is there anybody who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Please. 5 minutes. State your name, please.
Anne Marie Vasquez, 923 Smith Street in Linden. I just have a question regarding the zoning. It's my understanding that the 55 and over age-restricted community that was planned to be built is no longer going to be built. So I was wondering if someone could explain if that is in fact true, and if it's true, if it would have any effect on the zoning regulations.
Mr. Hudak?
Yeah, let me make a comment. Well, first, in regards to the 55 and older, we are still talking to Duke Realty about building those condominiums or apartments there. But of course, the housing market is pretty flat at this time, but they have not been eliminated from their plans. But again, it's not written in concrete that it's going to happen. That could be modified if Duke wants to do so. But at this point, nothing has changed from the original plans.
If they do wind up modifying it because it's not going to be built, will that have any effect on the zoning?
I'll let the city council.
Yeah, if the were not to build, and they wanted to build something other than what the zone permits there, they would have to come back to council and ask for a zoning change on that property, and that would go through the same process it's gone through this time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishes to make a motion, please?
Mr. President, I ask the hearing be closed and ordinance 55-58 be adopted, and I seek a second.
Second. Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Abstain.
Armstead?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Kalbus?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5559.
An ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled, an ordinance establishing a schedule of titles, salary ranges, and regulations for maintaining the classification and salary standardization plan of all employees of the City of Linden, passed August 15, 1995, and approved August 16, 1995. 4-GG Salary Ordinance 2012.
Mr. Armstead, you have a,
Yes, Mr. President, I have a motion to amend. I hereby move to amend salary ordinance 5559 to reflect and correct an error in the minimum maximum salary for the mayor. He shall receive no raise and continue at his present salary of $67,027.00. The municipal attorney has advised that this amendment does not substantially alter the substance of the ordinance pursuant to NJSA 40:49-2C, and the ordinance shall be acted upon this evening. I move for a second.
Has the ordinance been properly
We have to have a vote.
motion?
Mr. Armstead, move it.
Second.
Mr. Frazier,
Yes.
Yemakaitis,
Yes.
Sheehy,
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Crosby, Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead,
Yes.
Koziel,
No.
Colvus,
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. Has it, the ordinance, we're talking about 5559, has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Motion?
Yes, Mr. President. I move that the hearing be closed and ordinance number 5559 be adopted, and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Frazier,
Yes.
Yemakaitis,
Yes.
Sheehy,
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Crosby, Hurling,
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Koziel,
No.
Colvus,
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. Any item listed with asterisks are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or a citizen so requests, in which in the event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in normal sequence on the agenda. These are items 1 through 6. Pat Hero, number 2. Anyone in the center? Number 5, Mrs. Malik. And on my left here. Motion on the others?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion on the consent agenda. I did not get which one
Pat Hero?
Ms. Hero wanted to move. 2?
2 and 5.
Thank you. All right, make a motion on items number 1 through 6, excluding number 2 and number 5. I seek a second, please.
Second.
Mr. Frazier,
Yes.
Yemakaitis,
Yes.
Sheehy,
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Crosby, Hurling,
Yes.
Armstead,
Yes.
Koziel,
Yes.
Colvus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. Pat Hero?
Items are normally routine, but the retirement of an outstanding public servant is hardly routine. I've been doing this for about 7.5 years, and while I started with the library stuff, eventually I branched out into all things. And sometimes I needed to call Public Works and get information, whether about an issue that I needed to address or whether it was something personal with regard to the way my recyclables or something was being picked up. And I want to say that Mr. Messler was uniformly helpful every time I had the opportunity to talk with him about something. Sometimes we even disagreed on things, but I'll tell you one thing, whenever we disagreed on something, like the one time me and Ms. Wolverding denied DPW that garbage truck they so desperately wanted one year, and you all went along with us and voted not to have it. When I ran into him downstairs, he was nothing but the height of professionalism. He explained why, he thought, he might have needed that truck, but he said, I understand why you did what you did, and, I appreciate that. And like I said, always the height of professionalism, and I will miss him very, very much, and I just wish him nothing but the best. of health and happiness in his retirement, but the city of Linden will definitely lose an outstanding public employee. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Mrs. Malik, I realize we have 2 number 5s, and it's a typo, so would you come up and talk about the first number 5?
Alexis,
I'm sorry, I got to do a little bookkeeping here. I omitted to ask for a motion for the number 2. Motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. With regard to the consent agenda, I'd like to make a motion on item number 2, and I seek a second, please, for approval.
Mr. Frazier,
Yes.
Yemakaitis,
yes.
Sheehy,
Yes.
Zadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling,
Yes.
Armstead,
Yes.
Kozio,
Yes.
Colbus,
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
On number 5, this is directed to our treasurer. Can you explain what our policy is a little bit more? Normally, most people I would think would be paying for their Part B coverage, but why are the retirees getting reimbursed for this Part B for their Social Security?
Ms. Malik, I'll read you the rules and regulations. It's as per the rules which are state, federal, and contractual obligations the City of Linden has. As per the rules and regulations under Chapter 88, effective January 1st of 1978, Chapter 54, effective April 1st of 1980, and Chapter 436, which is effective March 1st of 1983, the city reimburses retired employees for the monthly premiums which the retiree paid to Social Security for his or her Part B coverage, and that his or her spouse under the federal Medicare program. We reimburse the retiree, the city, on a semi-annual basis, and enclosed we have a various list of the retirees that are covered under this Medicare coverage. Again, this is because we have contractual obligations, a state and federal law as well.
All right, so I know that there's been a lot of discussions with city employees contributing to their medical benefits. Is any of this ever going to be changed with a lot of these discussions that are going on?
Once the contracts are settled, I believe we have contracts until the end of 2013, the negotiations committee, and also with Governor Christie's assistance, will allow, once these contracts are up, for contributions from all employees.
And even retirees then?
The retirees, if they're not vested of 20 years, they will also have to contribute upon retirement.
Okay.
There's a specific statute under that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. With regard to the consent agenda, I make a motion for approval of item number 5 and seek a second.
Second.
Thank you.
Mr. Frazier,
Yes.
Yemakaitis,
Yes.
Sheehy,
Yes.
Zadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling,
Yes.
Armstead,
Yes.
Kozio,
Yes.
Colbus,
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. Going to move into committee reports, and I would like Mrs. Rashana Cosby Hurling to go first. She's a little under the weather and not feeling well. Just go ahead. Okay. Mr. Frazier, you have a report for us?
Yes, Mr. President, thank you very much. I'd like to report number 1 with regards to the landfill and the Hawk Rise Sanctuary. I happen to be the chairman for the landfill. For your information, the landfill, the walkway, Phase 1, is almost completed. Unfortunately, due to some of the severe weather that we've had some holdups on it, but it's great. I had been down there a few days ago, and I'm sure you can start walking around. However, they're putting up railings right now that traverse over the wetlands, areas over the wetlands. So it should be ready very soon, and at which time I will notify you. In the meantime, we, in line with an ACO, which is an agreement with the DEP, it's a consent order which we had to agree to. We agreed to having the New Jersey Autobahn to be our stewards of the landfill. They pretty much are developing, along with our own Board of Education, a representative, Ms. Dolores Maslow, a student program. But I'm very, very happy I've gotten presently, right now, the most up-to-date inventory of the various birds, animals, plant species that happens to be at the landfill. This is the report from New Jersey Audubon. It's a rather lengthy report, and quite frankly, I read through the whole report, and I was amazed to find out certain things. What they did, particularly with regards to viewing the birds, they did a migratory inventory of all the various birds that they had seen. And quite frankly, in the spring, they found something like over 200 different species of birds come to visit our landfill and the Hawkeye Sanctuary. They did another inventory during the summer. They found, again, well over 100 different species. Another one which was done in the fall, and one in last winter. So we have birds that come to our landfill and to the Hawkeyes at various times of the year. And right now it appears that this is a migration route for birds and other wildlife. So at this point, it's an excellent inventory, and they've done, I think, an outstanding job. And here in an urban society, we have something that we can be proud of. So eventually, when the walkway is open, I'm sure a number of Linden residents, as well as many, many students, will enjoy just walking through it and seeing nature at close. All right, at the same time, too, with regards to the 9th Ward, I mentioned this last month. I have my own personal website, which I have, through others, have created. It's not a city website, it's my website. But it's open to all of the 9th Warders as well as Linden residents. It happens to be, if you're interested, robertfraziercouncilman.com. This is my way of bringing together the various information that goes on within our city, basically to 9th Warders and to anyone else who is interested. Presently, the website is up and running. You'll find some very interesting information. I find it to be electronically a great way of keeping up to date with my constituents and giving them as quickly as possible firsthand information within the city and the ward. One other item that I haven't posted, but I will post on the website, will be for snow shovelers. We're in the winter season right now. I get a number of residents calling me in the 9th Ward if we have snow shovelers who would be interested in shoveling snow. I've been successful in the past several years of getting young personnel to shovel snow, so I invite all of the people who want their areas, their walks, their driveways shoveled. I will do my very best to line them up with some young personnel who will be able to do that. And whatever arrangements are made, that's between the homeowner and the shoveler. At the same time, I request that we enlist some of the young personnel. It's a great opportunity to make a few bucks and to get to know some of our people in the 9th Ward. At this particular point, that seems to conclude my presentation, and I thank you very much. But before I leave, I want to say this. The holiday season is upon us. I see one of my constituents with a beautiful Santa Claus hat on, and it's a great time of the year. It's a beautiful time of the year. I want to wish each and every one of you a very, very happy holiday, a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, and most important, have a healthy and Happy New Year. Stay safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier. Councilwoman Yamakaitis.
Thank you, Mr. President. From the Fire Committee, the Fire Prevention Bureau collected a total of $173.50 for the month of November 2011. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Department of Public Works and their graffiti task force for their quick response and assistance for removing the graffiti that I reported last month. I would just like to urge residents to please keep an eye out and call the police if you see any suspicious activity. Just, even if you think it's minor, better to give a call. With the winter months approaching, just a reminder to remove your cars off the snow routes. In the 8th Ward, these streets are Greer Avenue, Chandler Avenue, Cranford Avenue, and East Elizabeth Avenue. And also, if anyone needs assistance with snow shoveling, please give me a call at 925-2309. I have a list of several students interested, and I will get them in touch with you. I would like to take this opportunity to wish the best to Councilman Rich Buchel in all his future endeavors, as well as John Messler for all his years of service to the city of Linden. And I, too, would like to wish everyone a joyous holiday season and a healthy and happy new year. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Sheehy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I attended a ceremony this week for Reverend Donaldson. Reverend Donaldson, if you don't know him, he created the Masterpiece program in Linden, and they gave him the Union County Volunteer of the Year Award. Reverend Donaldson takes, I'd say between 75 and 150 kids off the street every Friday and Saturday night. With the help, Reverend does have an outstanding crew that these people volunteer every single Friday and Saturday night till 1 o'clock in the morning. Dolores Hines, Helen Kenny, Mrs. Joe Williams, Mrs. Wade, Miss Nancy, and Miss Debbie. Every single Friday and Saturday night, these people are out there. Thank you very much. And this week, we dedicated the police pistol range to Glenn Flanagan. And I'm very proud of that. Knowing Glenn Flanagan, it was well-deserved. Anybody, a longtime resident of Linden, knew Mr. Flanagan, and he passed as a young man, and I think it's well-deserving. I'd like to speak on Mr. Messler. Me and Mr. Messler battled a lot, and I'll tell you what, like Mrs. Hero said, when the battle was over, it was over, and then we went on to the next problem. I'll tell you, me and Mr. Messler had a few heated arguments, and I'll tell you what, he listened to me and I listened to him. I really got to know him in the last year, being the chairman of Public Works. I honestly hate to see him go. 38 years of service. But I know the man that's going to take his place will do an excellent job, too. Good luck in the future, Mr. Messler. And I'd like to wish Rich Burchell the best. Same thing with Rich. We battled a lot, and, it's not personal, and, we kept it on the political level here, and I'm going to miss Rich. Good luck in the future. And with this job, one thing I like, I get to meet a lot of great people. And Miss Garcia, you wouldn't believe how a petite, pretty woman like this can run a chemical facility, in the man's world. And how she did it was through respect. People respected her position, and they respected her. And I'm glad that I met her in my travels. Thank you, Mrs. Garcia, for all the help, and please stay around Linden. Please, thank you, ma'am. And I'd like to thank Mr. Morrow on a personal level, and I would like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. End of my report, sir.
Thank you, Councilman Sheehy. Mrs. Sadowski?
Thank you, Council President. Just a short report. Since we had someone talk about the Duke properties, at the present time, if you notice, they'll be putting new dirt, leveling it off. So they are doing something. Also, they're going to try to put the basic infrastructure there, the piping and so on. That senior housing is still up for grabs. Also in the back, there's tentative agreements of warehousing services by the tracks where the trains actually could pull in right into the warehouse and discharge. But it is going forward, and like I said, like the mayor said, we just have to wait until the law thing gets settled. The other question is, I've been getting calls, what's being built by BJ's? If you went to BJ's, you'll see dirt there. What the gentleman is doing who owns the land, he's just leveling it off. At the present time, nothing is being built there. But I guess legally, he has to do something, and so far, that's what he's doing. There's nothing planned right as of now. The other thing is, we had a robbery in the 6th Ward last week. Please, don't let anyone in your house. If they want to go in your house to check your water or so on and so forth, please don't do that. Call the police, let the police come down. If it's legitimate, the police will let them in. So please be careful at this time of the season. Also, before I forget, I want to wish Rich Purcell and John Messler the best. They both did wonderful jobs, I thought, and congratulations and good luck in the future with them. Okay, I'd like to talk a little about the senior citizens. Since it's the holiday season, there are great organizations for seniors to join. The last week, or whatever it is, we had 2 or 3 parties, senior parties, and they've been great. The people have had fun. It's a time to get together. It's just, I don't know, everyone seems to get together. If you notice, I'll bring it up, we have the pen that was given to us today. So if you see anyone with a red pen like this, you know they went to the party. So if anyone is interested, please, go to the JTG Center or give me a call, and that's 908-862-0749. You won't regret it, please. Think about it. And lastly, of course, want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and please, Happy New Year's, and please be careful with the New Year's coming. Thank you. That ends my report.
Thank you, Councilman Sadowski. Councilwoman Roshana Cosby Hurley. Councilwoman Roshana Cosby Hurley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to give an update on some ward information. East Elizabeth Avenue, 2-hour parking. This actually affects the 8th and the 5th Ward. The traffic enforcement. Am I supposed to say this, Mr. Mayor? Am I allowed to say that about the East Elizabeth Avenue? Sorry, I can't hear you. Am I allowed to tell them about the parking?
About the parking?
Right. Can I say that? Oh, okay. I didn't want to put my foot in my mouth. So the mayor has authorized a suspension of enforcement of the 2-hour parking on East Elizabeth Avenue because a lot of the businesses have issues or concerns with the employees parking and getting summonses. So East Elizabeth Avenue right now is suspended. So if you do work there, you can continue to park on Elizabeth Avenue without being worried about getting a ticket. More traffic concerns. Please do not park 25 feet from a corner. And if you're parking within 50 feet of a stop sign, you are going to get a ticket. We have 3 parking enforcement officers right now, and they are patrolling the entire city. I did get some complaints about people getting summonses. You can't park there, whether it's yellow curb or not. Unfortunately, this is something that we've gotten in driver's ed, and whether it's yellow curb or not, you can't park there. So don't park 25 feet from the corner or 50 feet from a stop sign. In addition to this, another traffic issue that was brought to my attention was that some people parallel park in their driveways. There's a law against this. It could possibly impede traffic for people across the street. Therefore, you should not park there. If you get a complaint, the police may come and visit you, and they could potentially give you a ticket. So you're not allowed to parallel park in your driveway. It creates hazards for other neighbors. The week of December 9th in the 5th Ward, we got trees planted. Yay! So if you have a tree in your area, on your block, look out for the tree. If you know, we're going to get rain tomorrow, but if we need to water the tree, if the tree starts to lean or you see something, that looks odd, please call Public Works. Their number is 908-474-8666. We've been waiting for several years for trees. We have them, and I'm just going to ask all my neighbors to please help care for them. We had Santa last weekend. He came and he visited the 5th Ward. So I want to thank Santa and also thank Spectra Energy because the mayor gave us in the 5th Ward some toy prizes that we use for door prizes. So thanks to Santa and Spectra Energy for the Santa event. I want to congratulate the Ann Ferguson Tower Senior Citizen Club on their year. This year they had an awesome year and they had a fabulous dinner last weekend. So congratulations to them. I look forward to working with them next year, doing more events. I also want to give favorable mention to ConocoPhillips and the Bayway Refinery. They were in the 5th Ward this week and they did an annual toy and clothes giveaway. Everything was free and, excuse me, it was open to residents of the entire county. It's basically like a rummage sale, but everything was free. So a lot of people do come. Children met Santa, those who were preschoolers who weren't in school at the time. And we have lots of books. I asked to keep the books because a lot of people overlook books. So what I've done is I've reached out to a couple of our elementary schools, also the Senior Citizen Center on, the John T. G. Center. And Lenore is going to accept some books for the seniors for her library. We're also going to give books to School 4, School 6, and we're looking at the possibility of establishing a small library at the LMP Center on John Street. There are lots of books. If anybody wants an opportunity to take a look at the books, let me know when we can, after we get them all set up and filtered through, absolutely come get the books. They were donated. They're free. What else do I have? I'm sorry. Congratulations on your retirement, John Messler. I want to thank him for all of his cooperation. He was very cooperative in my first year here and, helpful to the residents of the 5th Ward. I want to say to Councilman Pichelle, first, feel better, and we will miss you here, and good luck in whatever you do. I know that we will see and hear from you continually as you do support the community. Some dates to remember for the near future. Casino night is coming, so I want you to mark your calendars now. Casino night is going to be January 28th. That is going to be for the Mongill Corporation, and this fundraiser benefits the Senior Towers, 1425 Dill Avenue. If you wanted to participate, you can contact 908-298-3820, extension 205. And this is a fundraiser, again, for the Senior Towers. It's $50 per ticket. Just want you to save the date. Also, January 11th is the 5th Ward Community Meeting. We're going to meet at the LMPC Center on John Street, 7 o'clock, January 11th. We also have registration ongoing for the indoor soccer. So you still have children in the minors or juniors who want to do indoor soccer. They can register until the 30th of this month. And finally, happy holidays to everyone, whether you celebrate Christmas, whether you celebrate Kwanzaa, Ramadan. Have a safe holiday season and Happy New Year. And of course, my birthday shout out is to Jesus. Happy birthday. Merry Christmas. And into my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Armstead?
Yes, Mr. President, I have the following reports. First report, the following licenses, permits, and transcripts have been issued in the city clerk's office during the month of November 2011, and fees received have been turned over to the municipal treasurer of the city of Linden. We had 126 birth, death, and marriage transcripts for $1,890. We had 15 marriage licenses for $45, with an additional $375 being generated for the state. We had 8 miscellaneous revenues for $51.20, 11 bingo raffles for $1,170, 254 EDRS vital statistics, $3,895, 2 burial permit fees for $10, with a total of 416 total transactions with a total monetary value of $7,436.20. And the city clerk's licensing division is submitting a monthly report for the month of November 2011. The office issued 104 miscellaneous licenses and collected $2,261. That comes from Joan Turbert. we have a report for parking meters. This is the following report for parking meters and railroad daily parking lots, railroad parking permit collections for the month of September, October, and November of 2011. There was a total for parking meters, credit card transaction, railroad permits, and railroad daily. It was a total of $54,508.83 for the month of September. In October, for parking meters, credit card transactions, railroad permits, and railroad daily, there was a total of $43,409. In November, parking meters, credit card transactions, railroad permits, and railroad daily, there was a total of $39,224.93. The approval is requested for the following personnel and finance actions. Number one, in the police department, the approval of Ralph W. Heston IV as a candidate to fill a vacancy subject to a clearance by the city's medical physician. The vacancy was created when a previously approved candidate became unqualified. Number two, in the police department, approval of Michael Sawiko, Pamela Sanders, and Daniel Mendez to work as unpaid interns in the Records Bureau effective December 21st, 2011. Number three, in the fire department, approval of the Fire Chief Rizzo to carry over 5 vacation days into 2012. Number four, in the city clerk's office, approval of Joseph Bodek to carry over 4 vacation days into 2012. Number five, in the Division of Public Works, the approval of or hiring of Igor Morhekva as a laborer Tier 2 at a starting hourly rate of $10 per hour effective December 20th, 2011. Number six, in the Division of Public Works, the approval of an unpaid FMLA leave of absence for Janoris Robinson from December 13th, 2011 through January 10th, 2012. Number seven, in the Division of Public Works, the approval of the unpaid FMLA leave of absence for David Tequila from November 17th, 2011 through December 31st, 2011. Number eight, in the Division of Purchasing, the acceptance of the resignation of Brian Russell effective December 16th, 2011. Number nine, in the Municipal Court, the approval of the transfer of Julia Castro to the Division of Purchasing as a Clerk 2 at a present annual salary of $34,051. She will replace the vacancy created by Brian Russell effective December 21st, 2011. Number 10, the payment of bills for $1,360,421.93. The bills have been signed by the Mayor, Council President, and Finance Chairman. A detailed check register and vouchers are on file in the Clerk's office. Number 11, we are in receipt of investments made by the City Treasurer for the month of November at a rate of 7.75%. Now, before I move this, I erred once again in not allowing the public to speak on the Personnel and Finance Committee report, which I will do before I ask for a vote on all those items. Is there anybody in the public who would like to speak on the items just noted? Mr. Shep.
Yes, Paul Shelby, 315 Second Avenue. On this vacation to transfer to years, I don't know how the contract runs, but
Would you be more specific, Mr. Shep?
Yeah.
Item number?
For number 3, number 4.
Yes, that's Chief Rizzo. We're allowing the chief to carry over 5 of his vacation days into 2012. We've also given the chief a stipulation that he has to use those days within a certain time limit. I believe it's before March. The chief spends a tremendous amount of time going to various events and various workshops, and it's very difficult for him to use his days. And in this particular case, we do allow him, we're making an exception for the chief. And the same thing applies to our city clerk, Joe Bodek. We're allowing to carry over 4 vacation days, who, once again, because of the nature of their responsibilities, they have to attend various required courses and required workshops. So we don't like to do it, but unfortunately, it wouldn't be fair if we didn't allow them to carry over their days, and that's why we suggested that we let the council allow them to carry over their days.
On my job and where I am, if it goes into, we are not, by law, allowed to carry over for no circumstances, no matter what. My contract that I have, I cannot carry vacation days over into the next calendar year. And I don't, as a taxpayer, I'm paying for this. And once you're locked in, that's the amount of vacation days you're taking within that calendar year. There's no excuses for anything. So if you feel that it's fair, you know, it's, you know, we're employees of the same state and everything else. My job, I'm not allowed to do that. No matter what instance or what extra favors they do on my job, we're still not allowed to do it by state law. And we both work for the same state, maybe different cities, but my contract, we cannot carry them over. Now, I don't know if there's any ordinance or any laws for the employees of this city, if they're allowed it. If it's not in their contract, I can't see how the council could override what's set in stone.
Well, again,
No employee.
again, we're asking for the council to approve it, and we're going to work very closely with Chief Rizzo and Mr. Bodak so that this doesn't occur next year. But I'm pretty satisfied with the explanation that they provided with regards to why they weren't able to use all their days, and so we put on a report to allow them to carry them over.
Okay, that's fair, but if,
Thank you.
further, for any employee, I don't think it's right for council to say, well, what's right for two should be right for every other employee within the city. So everybody's gonna be asking for the same favors. You know, what's right for all should remain for all, not just for two particular people or anything. We're all being paid by the same tax money. What's right for two, then it could be right for the other 605 employees within the city.
Your point is well taken, Mr. Schaap, and like I said, we're going to do everything humanly possible to see that we avoid this same thing from happening next year.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to comment on the personal and finance report? Seeing, I'd like to have a motion on items 1 through 11 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Frazier.
Approve all 11 items.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Cosby Harlan.
Yes.
Brown. I'm sorry.
He's
Armstead.
absent.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Colibus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
I have some additional comments I'd like to make. First of all, I'd like to congratulate John Messler on his retirement. I've known John for a number of years. I've known his family for a number of years. His father used to head the Department of Public Works, and many people don't know, his grandfather was very instrumental in us acquiring our landfill here in Linden. They're truly icons in the city, and what they have done for us in the city is invaluable. The money that we saved by being able to take our own refuse to that landfill, it's very significant, very important, and it speaks volumes to the city that we are. It has made us into the city that we are, being able to save that kind of money. So again, I wish him well in his endeavors, and it's been a joy and a pleasure to work with him. We talked earlier this evening about snow emergency streets, and the winter is here, and we're hoping that we don't have a lot of snow, but if we do, we have a few streets in my ward that I'd like the residents to pay particular attention to. That would be Lincoln Street, McCandless Street, and Carnegie Street. These are very critical for safe passage for emergencies, so I would ask the residents on those streets to try to avoid from parking during the snow emergencies. Earlier this evening, we pulled an ordinance 5559. We amended it, and it had to do with the mayor's salary. I was going to speak on that, but I'll let the mayor discuss that himself, since the ordinance did affect him, and I'm sure he'll give you a decent explanation as to why we did it. And I'd like to also congratulate our Pop Warner midget girls who are now the national champions for cheer. We were able to send them down to Florida this month, where it was their first time going. We raised enough money to send them by train. We got them there, and they brought home the gold. And we're very proud of these young ladies, and again, like to congratulate them and wish them well as they move on to try to participate in other competitions. And last but not least, just want to wish everybody a happy holiday. It's that time of year where we put our little petty differences aside and try to love our brothers and sisters. We all are brothers and sisters, and we should try to respect and love and honor each other. And even if it only happens one time during the year, let's just relish in it. We'll be back probably, January 1st. Hopefully we won't, but I'd like to wish everybody a happy holiday. And that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Cosio.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to start with a report on the Special Improvement District, the committee. The city will be looking at purchasing new garbage containers. There's a total of about 30 or 35, the length of the district, which goes from St. George's Avenue to Munsell Avenue. The committee will meet again on the evening of December 28th. Right now, sidewalk and some facade cleaning is currently in progress, which includes power washing, gum removal, etc. It will be completing the length of the district, again, from St. George to Munsell. The Committee of Consolidation and Restructuring, we plan to have a meeting next week. Everybody's schedule permitting, to analyze departmental cross-utilization of personnel. We are getting reporting, and I thank Mr. McDonald for doing that on all of the tiered workers who are being cross-utilized where they're needed interdepartmentally. And that's a very smart way to manage. And we're going to be looking at that, and hopefully that will continue. Technology Committee. We have a meeting scheduled and planned for next Tuesday, December 27th. We had a meeting, and we talked about hardware and software existing configurations in the city. We'd like to talk about future requirements and the development of a needs assessment for the same for at least the next 3 years. We've lagged behind and piecemealed our technology. What we really need to do is sit down, do a needs assessment of our software, our hardware, make sure we have the proper service plans, and that also goes for whatever printers or copiers we may have as well. We're going to talk about our current municipal website, which is functional, but it's not what it could be. Please take a look at some other cities' websites, some of the information they offer, some of the access that they offer visitors, and not only about meeting minutes, but forms and things that you could download. We're going to tie the CID committee in with that as well. We have to sell our downtown area. We keep building outside, and what we want to do is we want to keep downtown alive. We want to bring people in. There are some cities that have very, very vibrant downtowns. Somerville. Even Elizabeth is doing a phenomenal job through social media, Facebook, website, on drawing people into the city. Their Special Improvement District, they have banner ads, they have flash ads on NJ.com and a lot of local websites. And what that does is it just reinforces bringing people into the downtown area. We give people something to sell, they come into a store, they're most likely going to have something to eat, they may see another store, and that's going to continue. But we draw people outside with a lot of retail development. What we'd like to do and what we have to do is keep the downtown area alive and vibrant and draw people into the city as well. So that's going to continue. Second word related. I'm stealing my fellow councilman's thunder, but it's something that is very important to me, considering the flooding that we've had in the West Elizabeth Avenue, around Marion Avenue, Lexington Avenue, and Bradford Avenue. It's underway. The project is finally underway. It took a few years, but thank God it's underway. The contractor anticipates starting sometime in January. However, there's no firm date. Mr. Verchik let us know that there's a question as to where construction fill dirt will be stored while the project is in progress. We do have some areas in town, but because of the liability of whatever might be in that fill dirt, we're going to ask him that the responsibility remain with the contractor to store that. But it is underway, and hopefully in January we'll have that started. A sinking section of Style Street between West Blank and Knopf Street was repaired last week. The cause of the sinking was due to Union County water main project, where additional ground settling did occur. Our DPI spoke to Mr. Fakidi and our DPW this morning, and our crews were able to facilitate the repairs in just one day with very little impact on neighborhood and traffic, and I thank them very much for that. That was phenomenal, and you know, hopefully that'll help that area. Parking enforcement, you heard Councilwoman Rashana Cosby-Hurling speak about that. I got an earful at the Thanksgiving Day football game by some residents who didn't complain about the parking, but were a little critical of it. But I think everybody does have to realize, in an ideal world, we would have curbs painted to match what our ordinance says. We don't have that. We don't have the ability to do that right now. However, what you heard Rashana say about 25 feet from the corner radius, 50 feet from the traffic signs, I know on days when we have garbage and street cleaning, it's very difficult. Everybody's on one side of the street. But if you do park on a corner, line of sight issues are primary. If you think you're too close, you are too close. Move the vehicle, because we have a hard time, in the Second Ward especially, the cross streets going to DeWitt, Knuff, Henry, Elm, Curtis. We have to have safe passage of those streets, and if somebody's right up on that corner, we don't want somebody in the street trying to pass. So that is going to be continually aggressively enforced in the Second Ward. An abandoned residential structure at 301 West Elizabeth Avenue has been inspected by our health department. Thank you very much to our health department for compromised structural integrity. This is adjacent to a scaffolding business on West Elizabeth, and it's been determined that the structure be raised for safety reasons. The structure has it's where vehicles are stored, and they've been violating you know, right-of-way issues as far as you know, walkways, and a lot of construction debris have been allowed to accumulate, and that hopefully will be taken care of very soon. A tree list that I submitted back to the Department of Public Works back in early August has been completed. I submitted a list that contained approximately 60 tree trims and/or removals. The most critical work was done immediately due to necessity due to the rain and snow events, with the remainder of the work being accomplished the last few weeks. As I get calls now, we will add them to the list, but I have been asking people to be patient. Other than that, I want to speak on Councilman Rich Puchel. It's been a pleasure and an honor to serve with him the past 3 years. I've learned a lot from him. He will be missed, but we are going to welcome Adam to the dais in just a few days, so it's going to be a good transition. But I wish Rich the very best, and I'd like to speak on John Messler too. John, I had the opportunity to be his chairperson and a member of his committee, and as everybody says, it's an interesting relationship, because I think people pull him in 10 different directions here, maybe more. Somebody calls, they think the emergency that they have is the only emergency, the only thing he's got to do that day, and he's got a huge crew and all the supervisors, and it's a lot to do. But I'll tell you, whenever I've called, he's always been very gracious and very accommodating, and whatever issues I had in the Second Ward, he got on it right away, and I thank him for that, and I wish him the very best in his retirement. Liz, I wish you the very best as well in your retirement, happy and healthy. We hope to see you again, and happy holidays and a safe and happy and healthy New Year to everyone. End of report.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Armstead.
Council President. Yes, I omitted one thing from my report earlier. That was congratulating Ralph W. Heston IV, the candidate who was going to fill the vacancy in our police department. I did not know he was here, and I understand he's left, but I charge it to the head and not to the heart. So, welcome, even though he's gone. And Liz, I forgot to wish you the very best also. So we know you're not going to retire. You can't, you know. But anyway, enjoy. Okay, it's been a pleasure working with you as well.
Councilman Colibus.
Thank you, Council President. From the construction code, there are 180 permits issued and 127 certificates processed for the month of November for a total of $39,539. From the engineering department, the engineer department designed and supervised construction in 2011 for improvements to streets, sewers, and sidewalks. 15 streets were resurfaced, totaling 4.5 lane miles at a cost of $765,000. 75% of the cost is paid by grants from the county and the state. A list of streets is available upon request. Also, on behalf of the city, I want to thank Dorothy Katowski from the engineering department for filling in as acting planning board secretary for a period of 4 months during Marilyn Copland's absence. I want to wish Rich Pichelle all the best. To John Mester, happy retirement. I want to say that ever since I was elected 5 years ago, that anytime I had a issue or a problem that came up my ward or any question, he was always there, and he gave me, sometimes the answer I didn't want to hear, but he always gave me an answer, and there was a solution somewhere in there. So I'm going to miss you, and thank you for all your years of service to the city. To Ms. Garcia, happy retirement. I want to wish everybody happy holidays and a happy and safe new year. And the final thing I want to talk about is that in conjunction with the Linden Police Department and the Linden Public Schools, we're initiating a project where if you have a child at home who has special needs or an adult at home who has special needs, you can register with the police department, and that register will go on the dispatch. So if, God forbid, there's an emergency and they need to go to your house, it will be labeled in the dispatch, and the police officers or the firemen will act accordingly and know the situation they have to deal with once they get there. Ongoing training is going on, correct, Chief Pavona, on how to handle these situations, but I think this is a very good idea, and I think this will be a model to other cities in the state, if not the country, on how to respond to adults and children with special needs. Now, more information will be going up on the city website and TV 36, but I have a contact number at 587-3285, extension 124, and that number will get you any information you need. I believe the city website and the public schools, Linden Public Schools website, will have a PDF file to download and to hand it into the police department and register with the dispatch. So, again, I think this is a really good idea, and I think it's going to be a really safe idea for the future and all the future outcomes. This concludes my report, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Mayor, you have a report?
Yes, thank you, Council President. First, I'd just like to mention, I'd like to congratulate the Cultural Committee, which was the prime mover of our December 2nd tree lighting ceremony we had in front of City Hall. And we had a tremendous crowd out there who enjoyed the festivities, the entertainment, and the Clydesdale wagon rides around City Hall. And everyone retired into the JTG Center and had a visit with Santa Claus, and a lot of the all the young children got presents from Santa Claus, and it was just one successful night event that again shows that in the city of Linden we are one big family that loves our city and loves our youth, and everybody who was on the Cultural Committee volunteers for this. This is not a paid event. It doesn't cost the taxpayers money for the presents or the time put in by the cultural people. They do it as a volunteer, and we get corporate sponsors to help us purchase gifts so that we give them to the children that evening. So again, this is the type of activity that I'm very proud to say I am the mayor of such a great city and such great people that give of their time for the benefit of others. And with that said, and I know I'm going to get into trouble when I do this because you always leave somebody out, but the president of our Cultural Committee, Molly Lenz, has to be commended, Elaine Lubis, Linda Thor, Julia Strasda, and all the volunteers that were there that night. Again, it was just a successful evening. Also, in regards to the Mayor's Youth Commission, which is another volunteer organization headed by Reverend Donaldson, which the 7th Ward Councilman mentioned, Mr. Sheehy, and he congratulated all the people that give up their free time on Friday and Saturday nights for the Masterpiece Theater, the Masterpiece program at the Multi-Purpose Center, where it gives the young men of Linden and the kids a opportunity to use our Multi-Purpose Center for recreational activities until 1 p.m. on Friday and Saturday nights. He mentioned all the volunteers, but he was being modest because he didn't mention himself. Jack Sheehy's there every Friday and Saturday night also. And Jack, I thank you for that. I do have to commend Superintendent Messler also for 38 years of dedicated service to the city of Linden. He has made our Public Works Department the best in Union County, and we're going to miss him on his retirement December 31st. So Jack, John, I hope you the best, and I know you'll enjoy your retirement, but don't forget to stop and see us every once in a while. Councilman Pichelle, I wish him well. He served the city for 3 years as 10th Ward Councilman, which is my old ward, and I wish him well in his future. Also, in regards to the street snow emergency, you're going to be hearing more of this because we are stressing the fact that if you live on one of these snow emergency streets, when it snows, you're going to have to remove your vehicle. We're going to have a zero tolerance policy on this. People have to remove their vehicles. It makes our snow plows jobs a heck of a lot easier, and cars are going to get towed. People will get mad, but you'll be given notice. The signs are up, so you're going to have to obey the law. Also, it was mentioned by the 6th Ward Councilman about the Duke property. We're starting to move along with the Duke development. They will be using dirt, 400,000 tons of dirt are going to be put on that property as a requirement to build. You'll see and you've seen them already if you were observant, the Public Service Electric and Gas moving their telephone poles off of the public right-of-way onto private property at Pleasant and Route 1, at Stiles and Route 1, and at Stiles and Linden Avenues. And the reason they're doing that is those properties have been acquired by Duke, and they're going to have the intersections widened for better traffic flow for their development. So the poles are the first ones to be moved back, and come spring, you are going to see the construction of the new intersections, and also, as Councilman Sadowski said, the infrastructure starting on that property. One issue that was good news and one issue that was bad news with the Duke property is that we won recently a 3-0 decision with the appellate division regarding ShopRite's lawsuit against us not zoning the retail commercial along the frontage of Route 1 and 9 properly. Well, the 3 judges in the appellate division approved our zoning, said it was proper. The only issue they had a problem with was the advertisement of the ordinance. They felt we didn't do it completely properly. That's a minor technicality. As you see it on the agenda tonight, we are doing a do-over on that ordinance, and that's all that's required to satisfy the 3 appellate division judges. Unfortunately, we did receive notice from the attorney for ShopRite stating that they are appealing the appellate division's decision, and they are going to the Supreme Court of New Jersey declaring our ordinance improperly filed. I've been told by our city council that it would take 3 to 6 months for the Supreme Court to decide whether they want to hear the case. They don't have to hear the case. Hopefully with a 3-0 decision, that might impress them not to hear the case. But if they do hear the case, it'll be about another year for them to render a decision. So again, the strategy of ShopRite to delay is succeeding, and it's costing the taxpayers of Linden considerable revenues. As I've stated before, if the whole development was built tomorrow, we have an economic analysis that we would receive $5.2 million in ratables. So that is a disappointing part, but again, we feel extremely confident that we will prevail, and ShopRite has got to realize that they have competition, and that's what America was built on, competition. In regards to the mention of the Fourth Ward Councilman with the salary ordinance modification, which was modification of my salary. Now, there's been salary issues concerning neighborhood municipalities concerning their mayor and governing body. That is not the issue here. This was agreed upon, and that's the reason it passed. I am not getting a salary raise. The council is not getting a salary raise, and therefore, as the elected mayor, even though I do put in 12 or 14 hours a day, I am not going to get a raise either. I brought that to the attention of the CFO, and that's why the modification was there. And if we are not going to give raises to other non-union people, neither this governing body nor I should get raises either. Unfortunately, or fortunately, no matter the way you look at it, the union people will get raises. This is the 4th year of a 5-year contract, and the raises do require us to give them a raise. But again, your elected officials are not getting any raise. So with that, Council President, end of report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before we go into resolutions, is there anyone who did not get a chance to sign the sheet to speak at the public portion later on? Please come up and sign the sheet. All right, resolutions 2011-374 through 2011-409. Storms. The
Yes,
public.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to pull resolution number 409.
All right.
And I'll request a second on that.
Second.
Mr. Frazier.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Sadowski.
No.
Cosby Hurling.
No.
Armstead.
Yes.
Koziel.
No.
Rich.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Kalbus.
No.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Okay. Public comments will be permitted for the specific resolutions to be removed from the consent approval. Please read the synopsis of the resolutions which have been prepared by the City Clerk's office. Each is informative and self-explanatory. However you wish to address the specific resolution, the council will entertain questions on it. Is there anybody who wishes to remove a resolution from 374 to 308? 0? 389, 399, 405. From the center, Mr. Sharpie. 377, 400, 409, was just voted on.
409 was removed, right?
Anybody on my left?
Me.
Councilwoman?
406.
406, Mrs. Cosby. Motion?
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of resolutions 211-374 through 211-408, with the exceptions of resolution 389, 399, 405, 377, 400, and 406. Request a second.
Second.
Mr. Frazier.
Yes, with the exception of 401, 402, and 403, I vote no. All others, yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
I vote yes on all except no on 389, 401, 402, and 403.
Sadowski,
Yes on all.
Crosby, Hurling,
I'm going to vote yes on all the ones, with the exception of the ones that were pulled, and I'm going to vote no for 401.
Armstead,
Wait, that's 402, I'm sorry, it should be 402.
Thank you.
Armstead,
I'm going to vote for yes on all with the exception of 401, 402, and 403. No for 401, 402, and 403, and yes on all the others.
Koziel,
Yes.
Kalbus,
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes on all but 401, 402, 403, 375, 383, 384, 385,
Wait.
and 386. It's
I lost you.
375,
Council President,
375,
375,
383,
383,
384,
384.
385, 386, 401,
Okay, those are
402, 403.
1, 2, 3, 4. Hang on 1 second. 401, 403 have passed. 402 has failed. And everything else is approved.
Thank you. In reference to 377, Mr. Sharpie?
This resolution authorizes the cancellation of appropriation balances and remaining unused capital. I'm suggesting that it not be spent and pushed on, not be spent before June 30th, 2012, and be pushed on, this surplus be pushed on to the 2012 budget. And also the other one, the one I,
Well, let's do one at a time here.
okay.
Motion on 377, please.
Yes, I move for approval of Resolution 377 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Frazier,
Yes.
Yemakaitis,
Yes.
Sheehy,
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Crosby, Hurling,
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Koziel,
Yes.
Kalbus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. Pat Hero, 389.
I'd like to know what is the nature of these amendments.
Mr. Chairman?
389. Yes, Mrs. Hero, we adopted a nepotism policy in regards to the city of Linden, and it was the council's intent not just to include civil service examinations. We wanted to include all testing, but when we drafted the resolution, we only included civil service, so we felt we should revisit it so that it would include any positions in town that required a test would be exempt from the anti-nepotism policy.
Okay. I would personally also like to see maybe a disclosure policy that when someone applies for a job, that perhaps one of your relatives are applying for that. I think there should be a disclosure of that. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Motion, please.
Move for approval of Resolution 389 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Frazier,
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy,
No.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Crosby, Hurling.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Brown. Koziel, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Absent.
Kalbus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Pat Hero, 399.
I'm interested in knowing what exactly are the various redevelopment matters that are going on that these are additional funds needed for? What's the specific?
This is the ongoing litigation with Verge on Southwood Avenue, with DuPont and ISP, and the redevelopment project with Morningstar.
Again, if government did not get involved in the redevelopment business, we would not be having the need for this. Thank you.
A motion on 399, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of Resolution 399 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sheehy?
No.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Koziel?
No.
Kalbas?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 400, Mr. Sharpie.
Also requesting that this be saved and not spent and pushed on to the 2012 budget. This amount of money here to be spent, not touched until the next budget. That be put in your safe in your bank, the city's bank, and not to be spent for no projects of any kind, not to be touched. Because that's taxpayers' money right there, our taxes. That's been put on hold and not spent to the 2012 budget. That's put it in the bank, do not touch it. That's taxpayer money right there. Do not spend any of it on those two budgets. To be put in the bank, kept in the bank to draw interest. Do not spend it. Do not touch it, council. Mayor, put that money right there in the bank for the next 6 months. Do not touch it or spend it. You're saving the taxpayers' money.
Thank you, Mr. Sharpie.
That's all.
Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of Resolution 400 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Kalbas?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 405, Ms. Hero.
Okay, I understand the need to qualify professionals each and every year. My question arises with regard to the other two firms, not McManaman and Scotland. Is that because in case McManaman and Scotland have a conflict, that we have additional redevelopment counsel?
No, we put this out for RFQ. Those are the firms that responded to the RFQ and met all the qualifications. Meeting the qualifications of an RFQ doesn't mean that they're going to be appointed for any particular job. It means they are on the list as firms qualified should council need an attorney in the future on that matter.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of Resolution 400 and request, Resolution 405 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Yes.
Sheehy? Sadowski?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Kalbas?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Councilwoman Cosby Hurley on 406, please.
Thank you. Resolution approving the annual meeting schedule for 2012. Last month, we actually held this off because we had discussion and there seemed to be agreements that we should have a meeting a week in advance to ensure that every member of council had an opportunity to review the packet and have any questions answered if they had any. To stay in the council, to get the packet on Friday, come in on Monday, and try and get your questions answered is extremely difficult. I know it's difficult for me. And it's hard for me to go back to my neighbors and say, well, this is what we're voting on tonight. And the schedule that we had was draft number 2, only included one holiday, and we had that chance to vote on stuff after we got real good information. So I'm just going to put it out there. If we have to stay until midnight because I have questions or someone else has questions, I don't want anybody to complain. And if we don't vote on stuff and stuff gets pushed way back because we don't have all the information, I don't want to hear anybody complaining, and I don't want to be rushed because I vote the next day. One of the residents in the caucus tonight, the conference, Mr. Shopper, you said it plainly. The residents deserve a right to know more than a day in advance of what is going on in the city. There was another resident who said that it was disrespectful. I'm not sure if that's the word she used, but for people to be conversing on the dais. You know why that is? Because people don't know what's going on. We have lots of questions still because we just got our information on Friday. If you have any type of life, Friday and Saturday, it's hard to sit and go through the packets. It's a lot of stuff. And it's usually more than just what we have here. It's a lot of stuff. So I'm just going to ask that we reconsider and amend this to draft number 2, but I'm going to vote no for this one tonight because we're voting to keep it the way it is.
Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. Bodek, would you care to elaborate on the particular resolution and why you felt it was necessary to continue to do it the way we have been doing it?
I just presented the 3 different versions of what we had. One was the model we followed this year, which was a full caucus meeting on the Monday night prior to, including in January and February, when the caucus meeting would be held on Martin Luther King's birthday and on President's Day. Option number 2, or draft number 2, was the schedule proposed by Mrs. Cosby Hurling, which dealt with having the meeting the Monday prior, the week prior to the council meeting. There would have been a meeting on February 13th, which was Lincoln's birthday, which is a holiday for the city. And the third version was the version that we had traditionally followed with the conference meetings, and that being the January and February meeting had no special conference night the Monday prior, but just a half hour extra on Tuesday night's conference meeting.
Thank you. Motion, please.
Yes, I move for approval for Resolution 406 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Frazier. On 406, Mr. Frazier.
Is this on 406?
Yes.
I vote yes on 406, and up at the council caucus room, we agreed the majority on number 1. Thank you.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
I vote yes. I like to keep it the way it is, and I would like to have more caucus meetings.
Sadowski.
No.
Cosby Hurling.
No.
Armstead. Yes. Koziel. Colibus.
What? No, Joe.
No. Colibus.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Comments from members of the public in attendance on city business only. No political, personal, derogatory comments, not to exceed 5 minutes.
Council President, can I make a statement, please?
Mr. Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you. Resolution 2011-402. It's an extraordinary unspecified services agreement with Brown & Brown to provide general liability workers' compensation and excess property liability. I would ask that this governing body reconsider that resolution. It failed, but that means that we, come January 1st of 2012, will have no insurance for workers' compensation or serious property liability. And that is going to be a severe risk to the city of Linden without insurance after December 31st. So I'm asking this governing body to reconsider 2011-402 for the sake of the city of Linden.
Mr. President, if I may.
Mr. Armstead.
Yes, Mayor, last night we spoke at length, basically on this particular resolution, and I had asked for some information to be brought back as to why we chose this particular firm, and Jessica Sheehy has provided me with some information, but I really didn't get a chance to digest it, and I didn't see where in her summary of the brokerage and risk management services that she should have stated that they came in cheaper than anybody else, but I don't see that anywhere in her explanation as to why we chose them, and I decided that we should pull it, and if need be, I would be willing to sit down with Mrs. Sheehy and talk about this at greater length, and hopefully she'll be able to show me where we're saving some money here versus the other firms that applied.
I have a question from Alan McDonald. Come to the microphone, please.
Yes, as far as the savings is concerned, there are broker. So any broker that we use is going to charge the same amount of money, which we don't even pay for. It comes out of the insurance company's end. The insurance companies are where we are saving money. Consistently for the past 4 years, using Brown & Brown, we have either maintained our coverage at the same rate or less than for the past 4 years. Prior to that, we had consistently gone up for, I'm guessing, at least 3 years that I know of that I was on the commission. So since the savings is with the actual insurance coverage, not with Brown & Brown, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
I just want to know that there is a savings.
There is a savings with the insurance coverage, yes, there is. It has either remained at level or less than the prior year, each year that they have been our broker.
So all the other brokers basically came in, and they're not going to be able to provide that type of savings, is what you're saying?
Brown & Brown has a lot of, they're a very large company, and they market it to 30 different insurance companies, where in the past we have used smaller companies that maybe got 3, 4, 5 quotes on it, and we were never that competitive. Since we've been using them, we have consistently saved money. So that's where the savings is.
Have you spoken with other companies, though, to see if they could save us more money?
Well, they market the insurance coverage. So if they're marketing it to 30 insurance companies, I think that they're doing a lot more than we could ever possibly do.
But another broker would have the same options to do that.
The brokers charge the same commission no matter who you deal with.
But another
so
broker,
it's not the broker price.
But to interview another broker, possibly we can get, a better deal.
Well, if another broker is going to come in and go to 50 different companies instead of 30 different companies, that's quite possible. But I really don't think that there's going to be too many brokers that are going to spend that amount of time doing that for no cost, without charging us anything.
Have we tried?
Well, I don't know how you do that, to be quite honest with you. Any broker that we've had in the past markets it to maybe 3, 4, 5 different companies. Because Brown & Brown is so large, they market it to, a lot of different companies, 10, 20, 30, and that's where we've been doing very well. We've been level or less than since 2008 with using them. So
Councilman
that's what the
Armstead.
savings is.
I know we're in the middle of a holiday season, but I would be willing to sit down and have another council meeting, even if it were only for 5 minutes. And if you'd like to bring Brown & Brown in, I'd be more than willing to hear them.
Well,
or whoever has to bring them in.
As the Insurance Commission Chairman, I'm just letting you know, to go with a lapse of insurance coverage is...
Well, we won't let it lapse. I'm sure.
This should have been done a month, 2 months, 3 months ago when they were marketing it, rather than now.
Well, I'm sure we're not going to let the city lapse, but because now that the mayor's brought that to our attention, but I would certainly like to maybe see Brown & Brown come in and talk to us.
That's up for council to decide, but I would strongly recommend against letting any insurance coverage lapse.
Well, we wouldn't let that happen.
We let our excess coverage lapse 1 year in what, Joe, 94, and it cost us how many millions of dollars?
Mr. Armstead, that's not our intent.
Just,
So-
Mr. President.
That's not our intent.
Our intent's not to let the coverage lapse. Our intent is to make sure that we get the biggest bang for our buck.
I think that's what we're doing.
We got a tough year. We're faced with a tough year next year. And we're trying, I mean, everybody's talking savings, and I'd like to see Brown and Brown, perhaps they can come in with a better number for us.
Mr. President,
Joe,
just
you wanna
in
give it a
addition,
shot?
in
Mr.
addition
Clerk.
to the numbers that Mr. McDonald spoke about, I also sit on the Insurance Commission, and Brown has been working very hard over the last few years to identify the areas that have been costing us insurance premiums, and has worked with the Insurance Commission to put in place programs that in the long run will decrease the cost of our insurance. Ideally, if we could go into a JIFT, a joint insurance fund, with other municipalities, there would be a greater savings, but because of our risk factors and the cost of things like our workers' comp, none of the JIFs are considering us, and we need to get our numbers down, and that's one of the things that Brown is doing, and that's why I like them and supported their reappointment.
However, has any other broker been interviewed?
No, sir, we were very satisfied. When we weren't satisfied in the past, the Insurance Commission switched from another broker to Brown & Brown.
Mr. President?
Mr. Armstead?
Would you have a problem calling a special meeting just to make sure that we don't have a lapse in insurance before the first of the year?
Yes, sir.
You wouldn't have a problem with that, right?
No, sir.
Thank you. I would like to have Brown & Brown come in just to sit down. Mrs. Zach, if you would give them a call, or Mr. McDonald, or Mr. Bodak, if you could give them a call, I will avail myself at their leisure, and I will, if necessary, have another meeting to make sure that we don't have a lapse in insurance coverage.
Mr. Armstead, I think we should also interview anybody else that was on the list.
That sounds to me like a very good idea, Mr. Council President.
Thank you. We're going to go into public comments. Cynthia Cosby, 5 minutes. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Council President, and Council Mayor, Chief of Police, and everybody. I just wanted to say, giving honor to God, who is the head of my house, I wish everybody a safe and happy holiday. I want to thank Chief Bavona for looking out on that corner. At last council meeting, I discussed people flying through the light. I've been there a couple of times and I haven't seen anything. I appreciate that. And my councilman, Mr. Calabas, I had a dog that was crapping on my lawn, and I finally found out who it was, and he's taking care of putting signs up for me, and I appreciate that. And just everybody be safe. Don't drink and drive, because I'm watching. Have a good one.
Thank you very much. Pat Hero?
Pat Hero, We Chief Road. First, I want to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, and a most joyous Kwanzaa. And as we know, there's no place like home for the holidays. And I almost didn't have a home for the holidays. Let me tell you my story. The city, I found this out about 6:30 on Thursday, what happened. I was lacking heat in my home. Called up the gas company, found there was a gas leak. Gas had been taken care of. They were going to come out and put the heat back on. So 6:30, someone shows up at my home. I don't know. I mean, I didn't, there wasn't any smell in the house. I said, well, how do you know if there's a gas leak outside? How can you tell? He goes, well, you know what? City came, put up a sign. Couldn't do it. They caused a gas leak. Ooh, that's very interesting. Sign, city. I didn't know the city was coming to put up a sign. Well, let me explain something. It's probably not a good idea to put up a sign where you had planned to put up the sign, because I have a big tree on my property, and the sign, which we all know should be visible, was obscured by that tree, or would have been obscured by the tree. And first of all, yes, I know that a sign, should be visible to everybody. But putting up that sign there would also obstruct my view of my neighbor's holiday displays. And they are beautiful holiday displays, and I really don't want that. And besides, I already have a city tree. And you might say, well, Pat, it's really not your property. It is the city's property. Well, I've already donated that part of the city's property to the city tree. And it sure seems strange to me that when it's the city's property, but of course it's our property when it's convenient for you. For example, why don't city workers come out and clean up city leaves? No. Why don't city workers do sidewalks? No, they expect us all to do that. So it's very, very discouraging. Now, how come you did hit the gas line? Let me explain something to you. Something I know, and I'm surprised that the city doesn't know this, since it is their job to put in signs, and putting in signs involving digging. But there's called a little program called Call Before You Dig. Let me just read something to you. Excavation work is the most common cause of natural gas emergencies. Before digging on your property, state law requires you call 811, a statewide toll-free number, to have your utility lines professionally marked. You must call at least 3 full business days before digging, excluding weekends and holidays, so underground utility lines can be located and marked, free of charge before you begin your project. I didn't see any little flags on my property. I didn't see any yellow, like paint, on my property. No, they just came out and dug. It's call before you dig, not call after you dig and hit the gas line and cause a gas leak, okay? Well, thank God my house didn't blow up. Thank God nobody was sitting there with a cigarette smoking as they were digging that, and they would have gotten injured. Thank God no one came around and threw a cigarette out their window and blew up the gas that was coming up from that. I don't know what you people are thinking, or even if you are thinking. I mean, this is just so outrageous. It's the job of the city to know about call before you dig. I knew about it when I was putting in campaign signs and asked somebody about whether I would hurt a gas line, and they said, no, you wouldn't go far enough. But my God, what are you people thinking? Thank God I'm still here. Thank God my property is still here. But really, I want a thorough investigation done on this. Because thank God, like I said, my house is okay and I'm okay. But you know what? Maybe next time we won't be so blessed, okay? Thank you. And I want to say that no gas lines were harmed during the making of this speech. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Sharpie?
Council President, I thought I could wait it out. I'm going to ask to be excused.
You're excused.
Thank you.
Mr. Sharpie?
There's problems in the city or within my ward, correct? Last month was trash pickup, right? And if you see anybody taking your trash, you're supposed to call up the police department, outside people to come and take it. Well, they got 3 TVs out of you that you lost. Couple pieces of big metal that I had in my cellar because I cleaned out my whole cellar. My next door neighbor called up and said, someone's taking your stuff already. It's not the city truck. City lost a lot of money, like three TVs they threw out, and a lot of recyclable stuff, metal, everything. The junk man in another town got it. They close it up, call up police and come out and get them, stop them from doing it, but they didn't. Another town got it, another person probably made himself about $300. As for the leaf pickups, you know, the end of November, I guess she didn't come around and suck it all up for like 3 weeks. So I had to take my mulcher out and do my whole block like I've been doing throughout this whole fall. Something that a mulcher and a gas thing that the city has, I had to use my own private one to take care of 2nd Avenue, my ward. That intersection at Curtis and Washington Avenue, I walked into another ward. I see the 6th ward. They have a lighted stop sign, blinking. Should be in that, in my ward, same thing, dangerous intersection. People running them stop signs like car wrecks after certain hours at night.
That's where we provided the police to monitor the intersection there.
Yeah, and I asked for a speed thing on it. We still haven't got it on Washington Avenue. That was over 2 months ago I requested that. Still didn't get it, 2 months' time. Mr. Brown told me he had it in his ward, you know. I don't know. Well, it's the end of the year 2011, and I wish us all happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and with God's grace and understanding, one day at a time, hope 2012 isn't like 2011 was. God bless everyone. Have a prosperous and happy New Year.
Thank you. Mr. Principato.
I don't know how to follow the last two. Maybe I'll start by telling a joke real quick, and I'm just kidding. On December 5th, in front of CVS, my father-in-law fell. He's an elderly gentleman in his 80s. He's very uneasy on his feet. He fell and face planted himself on the sidewalk. He sustained some pretty serious injuries, but he's fine now. The reason why I'm here is because I found out tonight that John Messler's retiring, and that's who I wanted to thank, because two of his gentlemen that worked for him on the garbage truck stopped and took care of my father-in-law until an ambulance showed up. Now, when I got the call, it doesn't sound like a big deal. When I got the call from the hospital to go see him, my wife was working, so I was able to run over, and when I saw the injuries, even myself being a seasoned EMT and firefighter, I was pretty shocked, you know. His face was a mess. But the reason why I'm here is I want to thank the two gentlemen. I have no idea who they are. I tried getting in touch with John Messler, but I actually spoke to him face to face. I had no idea he was retiring. And when I came in today, I was shocked. But what I wanted to do was thank him and the two gentlemen, whoever they may be. And I don't know if the mayor can find out who they were. And I'd like to personally thank them, but at the time, which was about 3 or 4 days ago, he had no idea who they were. He was reaching out. He tried to find out. There was a couple of guys that were on vacation, and he couldn't find out at the time. But
Mr. Vendetta, is it possible to find out?
I will find out as soon as I can and let you know.
I appreciate it.
I think that they were a little shy.
Well,
I'll find out.
you know, I just want to shake their hand, basically, and thank them. Because it's not often that people do things out of the ordinary to help other people, especially in a situation where, you know, it's a shocking situation. It's not something that, especially if it's something that you're not used to, you know. But also, I want to say Merry Christmas, because I only heard 1 or 2 people say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Have a safe New Year, and congratulations, Mr. Messler, on your retirement, and everybody else who's retiring. And hopefully we'll have a more prosperous year next year for the city. The one other thing I wanted to say, when you were talking about the insurance, I really don't think it's a bad idea to get a couple other options. I don't think it takes, you know, it's not going to take that long to do, I don't think. I don't think we're going to ever be left insurance less. So I think, you know, it's worth a shot. If we can save some money, then, you know, let's try to do it, you know. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Malik? following council meetings will be as follows. Council conference meeting prior to the council meeting, Thursday, December 29th at 6 p.m. in the council conference room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council meeting, December 29th, 2011 at 7 p.m. in the council chambers, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council conference prior to the council meeting, Tuesday, January 3rd, 6 p.m. in the council conference room, City Hall, 301 Wood Avenue. Council meeting, January 3rd, 2012 at 7 p.m. in the council chambers, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. I ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Frazier.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Zadowski.
Yes.
Crosby Hurling.
Pete, Merry Christmas.
Excused.
Armstead. Palabis.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. Thank you.